Hey, what's poppin' guys, Sizzle here, and today I'm going to be doing a breeding guide for Generation 5 of Pokemon, which includes Pokemon Black, White, Black 2, and White 2. If you're here to learn about breeding in another Pokemon game, I'd consider looking somewhere else, as breeding is different in most generations of Pokemon, including this one, and some of what I talk about in this guide will not be accurate in future or previous games. So, yeah. With that disclaimer out of the way, let's get into the actual guide. So first off, you actually have to get to the daycare, which in both Black, White, Black 2, and White 2, the daycare is on Route 3 in the top right, kind of right above Striaton City. But the thing is, in Black and White 1, in order to be able to deposit 2 Pokemon, which you have to actually do to start breeding, you have to rescue the daycare man from Team Plasma in Nimbasa City. And in order to breed 2 Pokemon, it's pretty simple. You just have to place 2 compatible Pokemon in the daycare, and then take a bunch of steps until an egg is produced, and the guy outside the daycare will then give you an egg. To be compatible for breeding, 2 parents have to be in the same egg group and have different genders. So you need a male and a female, and they have to be in the same egg group. And the offspring produced by the egg will be from the female side of the breeding. So for example, if you breed a male Ekans and a female Pikachu, the baby Pokemon that you get will be a Pikachu, not an Ekans. Now there are 2 Pokemon who kind of bend this rule a little bit, being Nidoran female, who can make either a Nidoran female or a Nidoran male, which are 2 separate lines of Pokemon, because they're both the same species. And the same thing also applies to Illumise, which can produce Illumise or Volbeat. Just because of the same kind of clause. Now there's also some Pokemon that can't breed. Any legendary Pokemon except for Manaphy and Fione can't breed, and every other Pokemon can breed, including genderless Pokemon, which you might think is a bit weird, but that's because you can use Ditto. And Ditto can breed with any Pokemon, and the Pokemon that results in breeding with Ditto will always be from the species that isn't Ditto. So this is the only way to breed Pokemon that don't have a gender, and it can be used to breed like every other Pokemon, but it does have some set of downsides. Now, as for what the egg groups are, there's a bunch of them, and you can see them all on screen. I'm going to try to show off all the Pokemon in these egg groups on screen, but I don't know how good the visuals I'll be able to make are, so I'll also have a link in the description where you can go and find all the different egg groups and what Pokemon are in them. And yeah, that's the part with the egg groups. Now there is also a specific thing needed for some Pokemon, being Incenses. They need to get specific baby Pokemon. In all the games, the Incenses can be found in the Driftville City Market for 9,600 Pokédollars each. And as you can see on screen, these are the specific Pokemon that require an Incense when breeding to actually get. So if you breed, for example, a Snorlax, and if one of the Snorlaxes in the breeding thing, whether it be, a Snorlax with another Snorlax, or Snorlax with Ditto, if neither Snorlax is holding a full Incense, you will get a Snorlax as a baby instead of a Munchlax. So that's important for these specific Pokemon. And yeah, that's it for Incenses. That's pretty much how they work. Then there's also the Everstone, which is different based on which game you're in. In Black and White 1, if a Pokemon is holding the Everstone, there's a 50% chance that the nature from that Pokemon gets passed down to its child. And in Black and White 2, any Pokemon holding Everstone has a 100% chance of passing down their nature. But if both Pokemon are holding the Everstone, it doesn't obviously pass down both natures, and instead it picks one of the 2. So for Black and White 1, it'd have a 50% chance of even triggering, and then a 25% chance as to, or 50% chance on top of that, based on which parent it chooses, and then Black and White 2, that's just a 50% chance of what nature from the parent it gets. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to natures and the Everstone. It's a very simple mechanic. And if you didn't know what natures are, natures will boost one stat by 10% and decrease a stat by 10%. It's really useful for competitive. I'll have a chart up on screen of what all the natures do, and it's very important if you're making any kind of competitive Pokemon that you have the right nature on it, so this can be extremely useful. Next off, there's egg moves, and those are moves that can only be learned through breeding and no other way. So there's no way to get it through level up or through TMs or even tutors. Only male parents can pass on egg moves to baby Pokemon, so you can't do this with a Ditto. And that's one of the many caveats of breeding with Ditto. And there's also a order to determining what moves a Pokemon will be born with. So first off, every Pokemon has a set of moves it will know when it's born. Then it'll go through the level up moves that a Pokemon knows. Then it goes to the TMs and HMs that a Pokemon knows, and then it goes to the egg moves that a Pokemon knows. And if there's more than 4, it'll get replaced with the later things. So I'm gonna quickly open up MS Paint and kind of show you guys what I'm talking about. So if we have like a Pokemon, let's we got a Pokemon right here. And he gets one move, let's say like Tackle as his level 1 default move. And the parent has 4 moves, right? And we got 2 level up moves, a TM, and like an egg move, which is an egg move, by the way, is a move other Pokemon can learn that you can pass down to Pokemon that don't learn it in other ways through breeding. And then let's say like the mother is over here. Because for egg moves specifically, the father takes priority. For everything else, it's generally the mother. Let's say the mother has those same 2 level up moves and then just 2 other random level up moves. Then the baby Pokemon, from this set of moves, will have, first off, it has its level 1 just move. It'll have, because these are the 2 same level up moves, and they're both known by both parents, you'll then also get those 2 level up moves. Then it looks the father for any specific things, and the father has, first off, its move that it learned from a TM. So now this Pokemon already has 4 moves, and for most of the time, this is all you get. And the father also has a move that it can learn that is an egg move, that is specific to egg moves, so then that will be added as well. And since there's now 5 moves in the learn pool, the first one gets cut off. And let's say this was Tackle, now this Pokemon doesn't learn Tackle, and instead knows the 2 level up moves, the TM or HM that the father knew, and also the egg move. And when you get your level 1 Pokemon, it will then have this set of 4 moves. And that's pretty much how egg moves work. There are some caveats to egg moves, mainly being chain breeding, where sometimes you can't even get, sometimes there's more than 1 egg move that a Pokemon can learn. And in order to get both of the egg moves that a Pokemon can learn on the same Pokemon, you sometimes have to first pass on the egg move to another Pokemon, and then pass on the egg move and the second egg move from that Pokemon even further down. This can get pretty complex, and sometimes a Pokemon can learn 2 different egg moves, but not both at the same time. But anything that's in the same egg group as Smeargle can learn every single egg move it has, because Smeargle has the ability, the move Sketch, where it can learn every possible move, and those will all get passed down as egg moves. So Smeargle is super useful when it comes to egg moves. And yeah, that's pretty much how egg moves work, and it's pretty complex, really annoying, but it's the only way to get some pretty cool moves on some Pokemon, like Stealth Rock on Ferrothorn and Ferroseed. You can only get that through breeding. Then there's abilities, where every Pokemon that is bred, through normal breeding that doesn't involve a Ditto, there's an 80% chance that the ability that the mother Pokemon has is passed on to the child. So if there's 2 possible abilities a Pokemon can have, it will most of the time go with the mother's ability. And this is extremely important for hidden abilities, where instead of an 80% chance, there's a 60% chance that a hidden ability is passed down, and then a 20% chance of either of the normal abilities being passed down instead. And this is the only way, actually, to pass down hidden abilities via breeding. And that means if there's any Pokemon that get hidden abilities that don't have a gender, or you just happen to get as a male, you can't actually pass down that hidden ability. Because breeding with Ditto makes it so you have a 0% chance of passing down hidden abilities, and only a 50% chance, it's just the normal 50-50 as to what normal ability you get instead. And yeah, that's all there is to the abilities. And the final thing we're going to talk about when it comes to breeding are IVs. And IVs stand for individual values, where basically, on top of the 6 stats that every Pokemon has, HP, attack, special attack, defense, special defense, and speed, there's 6 IVs that are hidden stats that you can't directly see without cheats, that go from 0 to 31 that can boost your individual raw stats, which can actually have an impact in a similar way that natures have an impact. The only way to look at IVs through in-game means without just using like an IV calculator, which is how I recommend actually checking your IVs, would be going to the IV judge in the battle subway, who can tell you a little bit IVs based on just what he says, right? So he'll basically say, he'll first off talk about the sum of your IVs, which goes from decent if your IVs go from 0 to 90 total average overall, above average from 91 to 120, relatively superior from 121 to 150, and outstanding from 151 to 186. And then after saying that, he'll say which things have the which stats have the highest IVs and the range that they're in. So he can say they're rather decent if the IV is from 0 to 15 and that's your highest IV, very good if it's from 16 to 25, fantastic if it's from 26 to 30, or can't be better if it's a 31. If there's more than one stat, he'll also just say them, in an order from HP, attack, defense, special attack, special offense, and then speed. And he'll mention everything that has that range of IVs. So if you have two things like a 26, if you like a 26 IV and a 27 IV in HP and speed, he'll say, your Pokemon has fantastic HP and fantastic speed. And that's how you'll know your HP and speed are your highest IVs, and they're from 26 to 30. And this is important because you can actually pass down IVs. So first off, if you use any of the power items that you can see on screen right here, you will pass down the specific stat associated with them, but only that stat. So if you have perfect HP on one parent and perfect speed on another, you can give the HP one the power weight and the other one the speed one, to guarantee that the baby will have perfect HP and perfect speed. So you can guarantee that there are two perfect IVs on the baby Pokemon. On top of that, anytime you breed two Pokemon, regardless of what items are being held, 3 IVs will be passed down from the two parents. Now, as to which 3 IVs, you can only control them using these power items, and the third IV will always be randomly selected. But from the 12 total IVs of all your parents, only 3 will be passed down, and no matter what you do, 3 of them will always be completely randomized, and there's nothing you can do about it. And yeah, as far as I know, that's pretty much all there is to breeding in Generation 5. You can also, with IVs, get the specific type of hidden power, because hidden power, the typing of hidden power is based on your IVs, actually. But yeah, with that being said, that's all there is to it. I'll link the article below where I basically ripped all this off of and was actually just reading like a script the whole way through this. The visuals are made by me though in some capacity. And yeah, hopefully you guys found this useful. I couldn't really find any nice videos on YouTube about this, so I figured I'd make it myself. And yeah, if you found it useful, make sure you leave a like, comment below that you found this very useful or whatever, what you used it for. I'd be pretty interested to see what you guys are breeding, what type of egg moves, IVs, whatever. And if there's anything wrong with this guide, please do leave a comment below, and I'll try to have a pinned comment or like a blurb in the description talking about what is inaccurate with this guide. And yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.